Hello viewers and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, then don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you don't have to miss on any of our interesting videos. And do turn on your notification bell so that whenever we post a video, you will be notified about it. Now, in today's video, we'll be taking a look into the most thought-provoking topics. Today, we're exploring the scary conversations an Uber driver has had with Trump supporters. As a teacher and part-time Uber driver, he's had the unique opportunity to engage with people from all walks of life, giving him a fascinating insight into the country's political landscape. However, his recent conversations have taken a dark turn, from a lady's explosive anger towards teachers and Democrats to another passenger's disturbing obsession with Trump's perceived divine right to rule. Now, these conversations are chilling. The Uber driver's observations are a reminder that for some people, Trump is more than just a politician. Like, they regard him as a messianic figure. So with that said, let's take a look into his video as we explore the alarming world of Trump's most devoted followers. I will be right back.
Hey everybody, my name's Kevin. I'm a teacher. I have a part-time side hustle as an Uber driver, and I've been having some really scary conversations, and I got to share them with someone. I mean, I really like doing this kind of work because I get to talk with both very rich and poor people and get a good idea about the political pulse of what's happening in the country. But lately, some of these conversations have been really scary. Sometimes when people find out that I'm a teacher, they'll begin talking about conspiracy theories they've heard. I had a lady in the car that heard that teachers put litter boxes in their classroom because the schools are being taken over by people, and that sometimes kids identify as cats and they're accommodating them with litter boxes, I told her that's crazy. I've never seen or heard of such a thing. And what scared me was she was just so angry, like practically hitting against the window as she began to talk about Democrats and teachers. And, I was relieved when she got out of the car. Another person I had in the car was talking about the attempted ascension of Trump and making a big deal about the two flags that were tangled up over the stage where Trump was. I know that Trump has been making a big deal about the flags because they seem to look like an angel, and he's trying to promote this idea that he was saved as if chosen by God. He knows there are people, mentally vulnerable people out there that are willing to buy into this idea. In fact, it turned my stomach when he returned to Pennsylvania, and you'll remember the exact time was commemorated with a moment of silence when the attempted ascent took place, and an opera singer came out and sang Ave Maria. He's doing just everything he can so these mentally vulnerable people will not only think of him as a politician, but as a religious figure. Believe me, I know that the people that are in my car that talk about these things really believe them. And I don't argue with them, I just listen. But they seem like really vulnerable people. I've heard stories about families that try to bring their loved ones into counseling, especially about those Q theories. And when Trump was asked about it in public, he said, well, I don't know anything about that group of people, which is a lie because, so many people surrounding him are feeding this rumor mill. But he says, what I do know is they like me a lot, and I appreciate it. And I don't think there could be a worse ethical breach than preying on mentally vulnerable people. But this has given me an important idea. Recently, Elon Musk took the stage in Pennsylvania with Trump and called himself Dark Maga. Now, as you know, most of the people in the Maga universe do not have high levels of education. And this is not putting those people down. A lot of these people are hardworking, blue-collar, patriotic people, but they've been taken advantage of. Now, when Elon Musk calls himself Dark Maga, For me, that represents intelligent people, educated people who are willing to put aside their ethics to use their intelligence to help Trump in his mission as a way for personal gain. Now, Peter Thiel is Elon Musk's partner, and he's the one that got J.D. Vance on the ticket. He's the one with the Project 2025 connections, and they don't believe in democracy. They believe that we're peasants and we're of low IQ compared to people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, and the country should be run by the ultra wealthy and not by people dumb enough to believe these conspiracy theories. That's the way they feel. So when Elon Musk is at the Trump rally, he's not wearing a red hat. He's wearing a black hat and calling himself Dark Maga. Because the people that Trump and Musk are talking to, they're peasants. I'm a peasant, you're a peasant, and especially the MAGA supporters, they're thought of as peasants too. These guys want to win by any means necessary, no matter how it destroys lives, no matter how it destroys the education system, the justice system, belief in the country, belief in the electoral system. There's never been anything like this before, and I'm really every day understanding it a little bit more, and it's just got me on the edge of my seat, as I'm sure you are, for the outcome of this election. You see how they use these culture war issues, how they try to scare everyone about trans people fighting for their civil rights. Now, the trans people represent a tiny, minute percentage of people in our country. But go on the highway and look at how many Amazon trucks pass you by. Nobody's talking about that consolidation of wealth. There are less and less opportunities for people to run businesses and have stores. Look at AI. Look at how jobs are being eliminated left and right. They're not talking about that. They want you to worry about trans people, to worry about these culture war issues. Why? So the peasants can continue being peasants, and Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and billionaires in the tech sector can get an authoritarian ruler in, whether it's Donald Trump or after him J.D. Vance, because J.D. Vance, if you learn more about it, he's completely connected to these Christian nationalists. Trump put the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence in a Bible. And what that should make you think about is that there are people in pulpits right now that are supporting MAGA because in their communities, they believe that these preachers have a direct connection to God. And they're telling you that Trump is the chosen one. They're telling their communities that Trump is anointed by God to lead this country, and we can put aside the Bill of Rights, we can put aside the Constitution for these higher aims. And this is another sector of people just trying to use Trump and the MAGA movement to gain power for themselves, whether they're techno-fascists, techno-authoritarians, Christian nationalists. These are some pretty serious people, pretty seriously scary people that are behind Trump. And you could see, I mean, what kind of world are we living in when Liz Cheney and all the traditional Republicans are actually stepping away from their party because they recognize this danger that I'm telling you. I mean, it can't be overstated. Thank you for listening. I had to get all that off my chest. These are the things I'm thinking about while I'm sitting here driving, reading the news, listening to podcasts. People, let me know what you think about in the comments. Let me know if you agree with what I say or you have a different opinion. But man, this is urgent. Let's talk to our friends and families. Let's try to find a way. Every vote's going to count. And, well, good luck, everybody. Be well, and I'll see you in the next video.
Pardon my voice if I sound funny, I have a flu. But yeah, let's talk about this. For real, Trump supporters think he's messianic. I mean, have you seen how they react to him? It's like he's a savior or something. And I'm not just talking about your average everyday support. I'm talking about influential people like pastors and politicians who are openly comparing him to Jesus Christ. It's not just the comparisons that are alarming, it's the way they are interpreting these events. Remember when there was an attempt on his life? His supporters were quick to spin it as a miraculous event, like he was chosen by God or something. And now they're comparing his conviction to Jesus' crucifixion. It's like they're trying to create a narrative that Trump is some kind of messiah. Now, when his assass happened, we saw a lot of articles, saying that Donald Trump's narrow bush with a would-be assass bee further convinced his evangelical supporters that he's blessed by God, reinforcing the messianic undertones of his populist presidential campaign. Trump and his campaign did infuse his candidacy with Christian imagery, prompting critics to accuse them of fostering a cult of personality with him as its leader, solely capable of saving an America he falsely portrays as crime-ridden and on the verge of collapse. Now, in interviews with 18 delegates at the Republican Party's national convention in Milwaukee, all but two believed God had a hand in Trump's escape from assassination. Many said that divine intervention was God's way of showing American voters that Trump, and not Paris, a Democrat, is the right person to occupy the White House after the election. This one says, "To me, it was God-given protection," said Sharon D. Regan, a Trump delegate from Florida. "It was miraculous. It was sent by heaven, and I pray that protection continues." Trump himself cast his narrow escape as the work of God. On Sunday, the eve of his formal nomination as the Republican candidate, he wrote on his Truth Social platform that it was God alone who prevented the unthinkable from happening. In both the 2016 and 2020 elections, evangelical voters staunchly supported Trump, despite claims of Adam 3 and S misconduct, which he denied. Now, critics in both political parties denounce him as immoral and set on dismantling democracy. With Trump convicted in May for a harsh money payment to a peace star and facing dozens of other criminal charges as he was pursuing a second term, we saw some Christian media outlets portraying him as an instrument of God's will, being persecuted by internal foes. Now, Ray Mayers, a Texas delegate, said there's some kind of mystical thing going on. After everything he's been through, everything that's been thrown at him, and now he's even shed his own blood, and he's still here. I don't know how else you can explain it, but God is involved. For voters who believe that Trump is anointed by God, Saturday's attempted assassination is another piece of the puzzle that fell into place, said Paul, a political scientist at Denson University who specializes in religion and politics. Now, he said the pew-pewing helped affirm for those voters that Trump is battling forces of evil on the other side, and it affirmed his special role as the protector of Christians against the vast forces of evil, including Democrats. Trump and his followers frequently post images of Trump as a Christ-like figure on social media. T-shirts at his rallies also promoted this idea, including one of Jesus laying his hands on Trump's shoulders. Now, a New Jersey delegate said there was a strong belief at the convention that God interceded to save Trump, but she cautioned, "We certainly don't want to defy Donald Trump." That's a cautionary tale for Christians. Mike Madrid, a Republican strategist who is an outspoken critic of Trump, said he does not believe the dedication of Trump among his supporters helps Trump in a general election. "I think it frightens a lot of voters that a lot of his supporters think he's the Messiah," Madrid said. Now, we can also see this in his speech to the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina declared to broad approval. The devil came to Pennsylvania holding a role, but the American lion got back up on his feet. Now, Scott then wrote into the microphone. His remarks formed the backdrop to Donald Trump's appearance at the convention with his bandaged right ear, the result of the attack on his life in Pennsylvania not long before. Now, watching those events on television caused this Reformed Christian to turn to the work known as the Revelation to John, the last book of the Christian Bible. The first 10 verses of chapter 13 contain a vision of a grotesque seven-headed beast whose mouth was like that of a lion. To this beast, Satan, here called the dragon, gave his power and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have a mortal wound inflicted by a sword. Now, the wound was not actually fatal, but was healed, and the whole earth followed the beast with amazement as a result. In fact, people went and worshipped both the beast and the dragon. To worship the beast is to worship the satanic power behind the beast. Are there lessons to be drawn here about Donald Trump and his MAGA movement? I think so. Now, the beastly figure of Revelation 13 is commonly known in Christian tradition as an Antichrist, which is someone who puts himself in Christ's place, thereby actually becoming Christ's opponent. For John, the seer who composed Revelation, the beast and its heads symbolize the Roman Empire and its emperors. Revelation was probably written when Domitian was the emperor. He reigned from 81 to 96 AD. Domitian posed a danger to the faith of Christians because he had pretensions to deity and demanded the appropriate public recognition of his divine status, with dire consequences for those who refused, particularly in Asia Minor, where the 7 churches addressed by the book 1 verse 11 were located. Many faithful Christians did refuse, and they suffered persecution as a result. Now, just like the Uber driver's observation, which really hits the nail on the head, these individuals who are buying into the idea of Trump as a messianic figure are indeed mentally vulnerable. They are often driven by emotions, fears, and anxieties, which makes them, more susceptible to manipulation and exploitation. It's really tragic to see how these individuals are being taken advantage of by Trump and his allies. They're being fed a narrative that's designed to appeal their emotions and biases, rather than being presented with factual information and nuanced perspectives. As a result, we're seeing these individuals being left feeling confused, angry, and disillusioned. They're more likely to engage in divisive and hateful behavior, and they're less likely to engage in constructive dialogue and critical thinking. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say about these scary conversations that this man has had with Trump supporters? Share your thoughts, your views in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in my next video as we bring you another interesting video.